Carol Angir was one of the Australians on board one of those flights, and she joins us live from Brisbane this morning. Welcome home, Carol, firstly. How are you feeling? Obviously, you'd be incredibly relieved. You finally slept through the night last night, I believe.
Yes. I'm feeling, at least I had a sleep after the earthquake. I must confess that after the earthquake happened, I had not slept until yesterday. This is because the aftershocks were quite intense. So each time you're trying to doze off to sleep, they would come and you feel the earthquake is happening again. I'm relieved to come back home, to come back to where I feel safe. But at the same time, in my conscience, and in my mind, I know that I've left colleagues and people behind I need to support. I am the Deputy Head of Programs for ActionAid Australia and the Humanitarian Lead for ActionAid Australia. And part of my responsibility is to work with colleagues, staff and partners to be able to ensure they either stay safe from disasters or after that they're able to recover. The scene that is behind there is what I witnessed live. I was there when it happened. And yes, I feel there's an obligation for me to still stay strongly connected with those I left behind and ensure that they are safe and ensure that we all contribute to rebuilding Port Vila back.
Yeah, we're seeing some images at the moment, Carol, of the destruction on the ground there. Can you give us some insight into what it was like when you were there moments after the earthquake?
Yes, it was horrible. I just want to, like the scene right behind you now, this building where was the British High Commissioner and New Zealand Embassy, it is split into half. This building right there is flat on the ground. I saw it when immediately it happened. I was there rushing a colleague to hospital and therefore was able to see it firsthand. It was something like I'd never seen before. It was like a movie. But it was happening. It had happened. It found when I was in the office doing the training, we had just taken a short break when the office started swaying and I was on the boardroom and I realized we had to go down. So I went down and my colleagues followed me down. We stuck in position that I've always been trained to do and now had to come to play to use. And the floor moved like it was going to split into half. I thought it was going to split into half and we were going to sink inside. Oh, but it didn't, because the building that we are in was quite strong. It's actually cyclone resilient and tsunami resilient. It's quite a strong building, and I thank God for that. Yeah. But when I went out to rush my colleague to hospital because she'd gotten hurt, and a good Samaritan actually took us in his car and said, "Let's go." And when we reached near that building that you see flat on the ground, then I said, oh my God. When we passed the British ICOM office in the New Zealand, I knew this was so intense already. But when I reached that building, the car stopped and I said, oh my God. And at that point, I actually met a humanitarian colleague pulling her hair and screaming she had lost it. Wow. And I told the car stop and I jumped out and I ran to her and called her name and I screamed with her name 3 times and I said, and I went and held her and shook her and I said, it's okay, we are here together.
Oh.
And
Carol, insights, I mean, to go through that, I mean, even with your training and with your knowledge of disaster, I mean, you're actually there training people how to handle cyclones, but still in that moment, just absolutely terrifying. We're so glad you're safe and home and well, and thank you so much for speaking to us this morning. We really appreciate it.
When we were getting onto the flight and I saw the spirit within the Australia Defence Force and the Air Force, saying we need to hold solidarity with our Vanuatu neighbours. They are committed to supporting. I also want to call upon all Australians that this is the time where good neighbourliness counts. And it's important that we support our sisters and brothers in Vanuatu. And as ActionAid, we are going to lead a women-led response, our signature that we are known for. And we are going to support women with disabilities in Port Vila and persons with disabilities and other very vulnerable low-wage income earners to be able to recover from this crisis because the economy has been disrupted. They cannot go to the market. They cannot go and do the casual labor, and we need to stand by them to ensure they don't go hungry, to ensure that their children will go back to school, and ensure this peace.
Such a message, the message of support, the message of coming together. Carol, thank you so much. I mean, it is the time of year where we need to remember
Isn't it?
that. But
and hearing about those good Samaritans that are